We are two of the editors of the Netflix limited series Griselda, starring Sofia Vergara. And today we're going to be talking about our experience co-editing episode 103 titled Mutiny, which is our official submission for the 2024 Emmys. You worked on an action scene.
Yes.
But that's the thing, from the get-go, you're like, I want to do that. What was it about it that, caught your attention and you're like, yes, man, I want to do this scene?
Yeah, so the big shootout scene where June decides that June is basically about to retire. And she's about to go into a different division. And on a whim, she decides that she's going to join the bust of Amilcar based on information that she provided to make the bust happen. But she's dissatisfied with other elements of police life, especially as a woman, and so she's packing up her things and leaving. Yet she decides she's offered, and she decides to join the bust. And then she ends up becoming the hero of that bust, and it's about sort of pushing through your limitations. And it's sort of about where like the controlled, leads into the chaotic. And that was when I read that scene and when I saw what Andy had done. I remember how my heart was beating watching those dailies. And I really liked how it's sort of a two-part scene. Where you have the cars on the street and Amilcar and Rivy are boxed in. And they shoot their way out, and then they run down the street, and June chases after Amilcar. And I felt like those two pieces sort of mirrored those exact themes of like tight control, bleeding into chaos. And I think that that sort of mirrors, June's journey. And so, I was just really into and really excited about, managing that transition from a controlled environment to a completely chaotic environment. And then, it leads into the amazing disco scene. You let me cut a couple of action scenes in that in that episode in 103, and I'm so grateful for that. It's that one, and when Dario comes in and takes out the witness as well. Yeah, which is so full of tension and it's very dark and very full of inner conflict for the characters. And so as how the characters deal with the inner conflict, in addition to the outer conflict that is all around them, was very alluring to me in wanting to participate in creating those scenes and just be a part of bringing them to life to where people say like, whoa.
Two different scenes as far as like tone wise and pacing wise. Something like the shootout, a lot of action, fast pace, right? Versus something like you said, a bit darker, slower, building more on the suspense.
It's agonizing, and it is full of dread. In some ways, it's a lot to process. But I think it's what's really good about it is that for the subject matter and for the topic matter, like it should be. Those kinds of situations shouldn't be taken lightly. We are, we're observing them and we're fascinated by them. But I think Andy, this is what Andy does so well in every scene is give it its proper weight. We don't know these people personally, but we can understand them and empathize them, and we're fascinated by them. But there's just that tone is always, the pitch is always pitch perfect, I think. And so just trying to follow along with what the tone is and the other in this particular scene, the utter darkness of it. What was really fun about collaborating with you on that one is that you were cutting the other side of it, which was Griselda playing board games with her family. And so I guess I would flip that back to you when, the other side of that phone call, that tells, Griselda what's going on in that scene, when you were constructing, because there's so much irony going on because everyone's having fun, in the room with her, whereas no one's having fun with, Dario and Chucho. So what was it like to craft that scene?
Yeah, I'm just focused on more, in this case, her feeling her reaction to getting that phone call, right? We kind of experimented there a bit with some dreamy or, sounds kind of getting into her head more, right? As she is kind of listening to the kids playing Monopoly over here and then hearing the faucet running over there. and feeling that stress, right? Of knowing what's about to happen. Did they do it or not? It's just a feeling, man. I think it's a feeling of how long to hold on it. Yeah, you just know when it's right. And I think also, but then also, yeah, that changes, right? As you then start putting, say, other scenes together, next to it and whatnot, you just start feeling out the right rhythm. That beautiful shot towards the end where she learns that they screwed her over with the deal. We have that long push in, and that was always just one shot. I mean, it was literally that one setup. I mean, I think they did it. I did it more than 10 times, I think. But in that moment, it's like getting that right. It's like looking it over and over, and all the shots, and what was the right one, the right hug, the right rhythm, the right camera movement. I mean, like we definitely went over that scene a lot. I mean, right? And we're talking just as one, right? I mean, like, but it's like getting the right one, like at the right moment when we've now done this entire pass on an episode. But maybe if this take worked at that moment, maybe now it doesn't necessarily, right? Because the rhythm maybe is off.
It was just fun to be, in an environment where we were confident because of the performances and because of, of what we had, that we could, make it the best that it could be, and because of the excitement surrounding it. And so that's what I remember most about it is we felt like we were really, making something together with a lot of other people that people were really going to like watching. I think that's really what it came down to. I think that when we could see it, certainly when we read the script and when we got all the pieces, we said that people are going to love this episode. And so that was fun in the moment. And I think that in other experiences I've had, I've more often said, people might really like this, and I think that with this episode, I was maybe just a little bit more tipped towards like I think people are really gonna like this, and I remember sort of telling people and I still feel that way, and it's like that's what I always want to feel that way, and so I'm very grateful in that sense.